Okay, welcome. This is week 6. Welcome to week 6. This is Russ, your guy in Guam. This is week 6 since I started this vlog tracking my ongoing weight loss effort. And again, I started my very first video was sort of 10 days in. This was April the 20th, April the 20th, 2021 is when I began this particular weight loss journey. It is now June the 4th, so we're pretty significantly over a month, almost a month and a half, I guess we're creeping up on now into it. I remember again, I started at 265, and we'll get to where we are this week. I'm going to let you know sort of up front that there were some challenges. This is actually probably one of the most challenging weeks so far. And I'll get to that, and I'm going to get to that in the context of something that I've been teasing for a while. So I've been talking about since I think like week 3, and I'll tell you here in a second why it is that I've been teasing, and now we're just getting around to it. I've been teasing for the first several weeks here, or since week 3, about that I might talk about a program that this weight loss is part of. And I haven't talked about it up until now because honestly, this has to do with, you may notice that I'm beginning to slightly evolve the opening a little bit because I'm saying that, it's weeks since I started the vlog, and I started the vlog. This vlog is starting, really the starting point is the weight loss journey. And I'm going to say, for those of you who are older, again, I'm 50. I'm undergoing this weight loss journey mainly for health reasons. My wife and I are doing this together. We both reached a point where we were kind of like, hey, we both like to think about looking after our health and losing some pounds. My wife doesn't have health issues. Since about 2015, so about the last 5, almost 6 years now. I do have some diagnosed issues with type 2 and with high blood pressure, and I'd like to be able to get those items under control before they get out of control, before they give me long-term kind of, health, disabilities that I have to deal with that are ongoing and irreversible, and to do so without medication. So if I can live a healthy lifestyle and control my blood pressure and my blood sugar with just good solid diet and exercise, that's my goal. That's where I want to get to. And so, excuse me here, a little dry mouth. Refreshments and hey, raw footage. So that was the sort of a beginning of an impetus. But as I've also mentioned, that this for me. It's also kind of part of an overall life reclamation project, if you will, because again, as I mentioned, I'm 50 years old, and there are some things that I'm looking to do to grow as a human being and to really get to where I want to be as a communicator, and to pursue the sorts of things that I've had in mind and I've pursued without focus, and while struggling for survival and doing a whole bunch of other things and maybe even making a lot of excuses in my mind that have prevented me from being all I can be. And I'm not going to join the army to get there, so yeah, I want to, I know that I've had a lifelong dream of making my bones as a writer, and primarily in screenwriting, but creative writing. And really, in just using my ability to compose words and language, that's really kind of my best destiny. It's really what I'm the best at. It's, in any kind of way when someone who is a motivational guru of any sort will challenge you, and if you really get quiet and still, and what is it that you would, those are my answers. For sure I want to be making my living as a writer, as a communicator. Again, I've done stand-up comedy, and I've had an interest in doing some acting, but mainly, as a stand-up comic, other comics would tell me that they love my writing, which is a little bit of a backhanded compliment, right? And I, ultimately, as much as I enjoy performance, really, what sets me on fire, what gets my passion going is it's the writing, and that's what I've always wanted to do. It's what I've not been doing it, and I'm obviously very late in the game. And really, I've made peace with the idea that, like, you could say, well, your opportunity, sir, to be a rock star probably passed many years ago. And if you think in those terms, then yeah, absolutely. I should absolutely buckle down into practice. But I've been, again, sort of struggling against my nature for the majority of my life and making a living doing things. I've done a lot of transportation. I've worked in food industry and a lot of sort of, just things that left me uninspired. And then I've also talked about that I've worked in some health and wellness or healthcare related fields. And I began a number of months ago looking at potentially doing healthcare related copywriting. I feel like I've had a little bit of a shift, and my wife and I have had some great discussions here in recent weeks, and we're choosing to really sort of focus and change our, we're really sort of going for it. We're embracing the adventure. She's looking to take some really big steps forward in her career and to sort of pursue that in an unbridled way. And I, got to a point where I realized there's no point to not just embrace the unknown adventure of that. And so, we're going to move forward in whatever opportunities end up presenting themselves, both for her and for me. So what I began, sort of circling back then to the focus here is, so this vlog, while it's beginning with a weight loss effort, it's, I think, going to be in support of me really kind of establishing myself, and I'm looking, this is to put your weight loss on video and put it out, even though that, right now, yes, I'm at a point where I'm just getting started. I don't have, look, let's all be honest, anybody who's just starting out, I don't have a following. There's a lot I need to do in order to sort of, put myself out there to build an online presence. I'm sure as time goes by, if you're watching this, you might find me in any one of a number of various kinds of efforts. I'm working with a writing partner on a graphic novel currently, which I find is a great way to channel the very same passions that I have for screenwriting. I'm finding, that graphic novel writing and comics writing is very similar. They tap into the same sorts of passions as a storyteller, and I'm finding that to be very gratifying. And I'm very happy about the work that we're doing there, and I hope to establish, as I've said, I'd love to be able to establish myself in the graphic novel and comics world, to use that potentially as a springboard to getting involved, more in film, which is what I really, really love. And also, to establish myself, sort of like in a more public fashion, what is, I hate to be so crass and cynical as to talk about it in terms of a brand, but I think, that what I'm looking to do is to connect in a very genuine way. And I think that, putting a weight loss effort as a first sort of public step is a very sort of naked, in the world kind of thing to do. And so, again, maybe if you found me through articles I might have written, published that are either related or unrelated to entertainment and creativity, I'm a complete, this is me in my complete fullness. And I think I'm also, again, I very much responded to my work in the healthcare related field. So, in getting to where I need to be, getting my mindset right, I want to be a voice for people who need it, right? And so if you're watching this and you're like, this guy's a joke or whatever, that's cool, that's fine. I'm not, then you're not my audience and I'm not talking to you. And that's absolutely fine. You can shut the video off and move on. I'm really looking to talk to people who are in a similar boat. I feel like those people are out there. I'm looking to connect with you if you're somebody who is, again, I haven't really absolutely settled on a sort of a title in my mind that really encompasses what it is that I'm, but I'm refining it all the time. But I really, again, I think, as I said, a life reclamation project. It's a strong chapter 2 or a final push or a, final act. However you want to kind of look at that. But certainly, I feel that I'm not alone in being somebody in the world who's sort of, not that I've got a lot to complain about. I mean, look at my room here, and I've got, there's a lot to love, and obviously here's a printer, right? And I've got technology, and I'm really well fed, aren't I? Right? I don't have a lot to complain about. Life has taken care of me beautifully. I have a lot to be grateful about. I'm trying to get to where it's like, yeah, you got to be not only mindful of that, but then to understand the responsibility of it, and to so I'm trying to get involved in putting myself out there from a point before which I bloom into the best versions of myself, which is an ongoing journey anyway. It's not like maybe I'm using some flaky language to say I'm blooming into something, whatever. It is a concerted effort, right, to be the best version of myself, and that's what I think that if I can help to be a catalyst for that for anyone else, then it's worthwhile, and hopefully for lots of people, and just to at least to be somebody contributing to that ongoing dialogue in the world that for whatever else that this world may offer. And in good and bad, and a lot of times we get very mired, bogged down in viewing the world for all of its, for what we perceive to be its negativity. Honestly, it's maybe the ultimate expression of the idea of to think globally and act locally. And acting locally begins as local as between your ears. And that's something that I'm looking to do. I always seem to start these videos, and again, no, I don't do editing. This is raw, straight from the heart. I talk, and I try to do these things in one shot unless I really screw it up. And there was a nice live, I didn't mute my phone. So you get a little bit of, my life is intruding into the video. Ain't it great? Ain't it fun? Circling back. So, 13 minutes into a video, getting to the beginning of it. Absolutely cool. So hopefully, that was worthwhile. A nice preamble intro. So as I started talking about, and actually let me get out of it. I'm gonna see. Can you see? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So really, and it's kind of cool because it's a new page of app here, right? So it's the only app on this particular page of apps, right? On my phone is, I don't know if you can tell what that is, but that is that little sort of sunshine burst in the white. If you can't read it, it's a little blurry, I understand. That is the app for Noom, N-O-O-M. Again, if you're looking for a program to help you out, I'm not necessarily recommending it. I am not, nor am I warning you against it. I'm not at the end of it. I can tell you that, again, I started it at 265, 265.1, I believe, April the 20th when I got started. And week 5, last week's video, I believe I checked in, I weighed at 242.4, 242.4. And this morning, so before I get to what happened this last week? This last week was a challenge. Well, I guess, yeah, let me just go ahead and say it. So this morning I weigh in at 241.7. So from 242.4 to 241.7 is a .7 net over from Friday to Friday. Again, this being June the 4th, as it is here in Guam. Again, we're a little bit ahead, so it's really Thursday the 3rd back in the continental U.S. and for much of the world, as you know, depending on the time zones. 0.7, right? And so, again, I've said this, and I've been saying it since week 1, right? That, you without doing something super extreme and doing something that's really unhealthy, your traditional doctor, weight loss, nutritionist, guru kind of people, that conventional wisdom will say that you want to be undergoing, taking the steps to lose a healthy 1.5 to 2 pounds a week, or they'll even say 0.5 pound to 1 pound a week. I mean, you hear different sort of little ranges, but really, if you're in that 0.5 pound to 2 pounds, that's healthy weight loss. So why is it challenging to have a 0.7 drop? Well, I mean, it's always, despite that, you want to, look, I'm a human being like anybody, and you want to think, well, I'm doing it in a good, healthy way, and still magically, 3 to 5 pounds each week are going to drop off. Preferably 7 to 10. I'd love it that all of the weight that I want to lose would be off by next Friday, but it doesn't work that way, right? And so, this is the weight loss is a marvelous place to begin a journey for overall. Again, I'm doing a lot of things to try to do it. Make the sort of mindset changes that will propel me to a lasting and permanent and healthy body weight. Take care of my health, mind, body, spirit, right? Getting my financial house in order, getting my livelihood in order, getting to be the writer that I really know that I can and should be. But the weight loss is a great sort of beginner because it's such a tangible thing. It's got measurable metrics to it, right? You got the numbers every week. The scale is telling you what you're doing. But when you look at it, a weight loss is also it also reminds you how much of life is out of your direct control, right? Because your mind can be right, and I'm going to say, as I've said before, you look at me and you say, well, if you had trouble losing weight, how do we know that you didn't spend your, how many trips through the McDonald's line did you have, Bun? And, you've been pounding down the pizzas and the cheesecakes. Well, that's not true. No, I can tell you that, and so I will say this on Noom's behalf, is that one of the real benefits for me that I found in this program is, well, it's in the tracking, right? Not just in the daily weigh-ins, but also in the meal-to-meal calorie tracking. Which, I think if you're not in the right mindset, it can get to feel like, man, that's daunting. What a pain in the ass to have to log your meals and track your calories and da-da-da, but I think it really keeps me mindful. And it's not that hard, it's something you can do. You got a sandwich in one hand and what are the ingredients in the sandwich? And again, Noom does a pretty good job of, another thing that I'll praise them for is they've got a really strong database of food options, including, not just generically like beef, chicken, and vegetables, and this is how much calories are for various things, but literally by restaurant, by different manufacturers. They know how much are in different cans of soup by brand, and a lot, again, most of your, and you're very likely, even if they don't have it exact, they might have something that's you're like, well, that's maybe that's not the Chinese restaurant that I eat at, but this is the same dish. It's probably very, very similar or whatever. They make it very very easy, I think, to track your calories as long as you're willing to just, use the app. And man, take advantage of the fact that we live in the information age that we do, and you've got this powerful thing on your hip now, assuming that you're someone in enough of the westernized world that you've got, a phone. And I imagine that's the majority of the people that I'm talking to. And so, the primary thing. So, what can I say about Noom, and then I'll talk a bit about the struggles. I will say that is Noom worth it? Again, get back to me at the end of my entire weight loss journey. I can tell again, so far so good with it. I might have feedback for their developers. I think there are things that anybody might wish for a little bit more functionality, a little bit, but that's not uncommon. I think what they've got going right now is pretty good. It's very psychologically based, so they're taking care of you with metrics. You can track your exercise, you're tracking your day-to-day weigh-ins, you're tracking your calories. But they put you, at least here in the early going, through a bit of a, and you can do it at your own pace. I've been doing it sort of, I would say, religiously on the daily, right? Every day, if you keep pressing forward and you stay committed with it, it's putting you through like a course, a regimen of, information, food information and psychology about helping you sort of change your relationship with food and helping you gain perspective and not beat yourself up. The sorts of things that extrapolate to a lot of different areas of life. So I think that they're doing certainly seems like they're doing a pretty good job of things. I think do you need every lesson? I certainly I think if you're somebody who's been around the weight loss block more than once, as I have. There's probably a lot of information that you've heard or read elsewhere, which in one sense it's good to confirm and have more sources sort of helping you reaffirm things in your mind, and that's always beneficial and helpful. But there are times I would say that you're like, not every exercise, but it's like you go through a course. In anything, I think there are times at which I was like, wow, this lesson was really jam-packed with good stuff, and then this over here is like busy work because I don't need it as much. But maybe that you'd like an option to be able to skip certain lessons or to be able to see, So there are times at which I'm. Sometimes it really engages me, and sometimes I'm less engaged, and I'm a little bit going through the motions. But I don't know that that's a horrible criticism of their program. And again, so let me, I'll say that, sort of tying that back into what I was talking about in my evolution as a communicator and what this vlog is a little bit about and its support and its evolution is that, as I mentioned, I was thinking about getting into copywriting, and so, this first several weeks I didn't want to talk about Noom. Because I'll just be honest, I was trying to reach out to their marketing department and see whether or not they might be interested in working with me as a independent sort of evaluator, as a live vlogger for them, but maybe they were. I don't know. They didn't get back with me, and it was an attempt that I was making to try to see whether or not that was something they'd be interested in. But in any case, it was never going to be something that was going to compromise the integrity of it. I was never going to falsify any information or anything along those lines. And so maybe that is a scary prospect to their higher ups or in their marketing department, like how can we know what this guy's really all about? So maybe they were a little wary of making me a live testimonial or test case or whatever, which is fine. I took a shot in the dark on a thing, and I thought it was something potentially worthwhile. And at this point, I'm comfortable with the idea that, all right, so I'm, my weight loss, my journey is going to be something that I'm using strictly to build my own sort of presence and in my effort to connect with an audience. So again, then to just kind of wrap it up with this week and heading into next week. Yeah, I guess it was week 3 that I talked about a little bit of a struggle with a bit of a plateau. Now, Noom describes plateau, and I'm assuming that that Noom has, they've obviously done all of their homework. They're employing real nutritionists and scientists, and by their definition, a weight loss plateau is when your weight hasn't really moved significantly in like a greater than a week, like up to 2-week period of time. I can tell you, as someone trying to lose a significant amount of weight, that is a torturous thing to have to face. I mean, especially if you're being good. And again, you're going to have to sort of trust my integrity. And I really, that's what I have to go on. That's, what is it? I can't, other than to, run a live stream of my life 24/7 where you could actually see everything that goes in my, that I'm ingesting, which is crazy and impractical. I can only rely on, my integrity as a communicator and as somebody who's trying to be genuine and is putting myself out there, that if I'm lying about what I'm doing, I should tell you. And again, I'll tell you that, my weight loss effort has been sticking to, I put in a target goal weight, and Noom works out a program, and it calculates how many calories per day I need to sort of target. Gives you a little bit of a range, at the low end, the high end. I often am below, I will say, my target, and only a handful of times have I been over, and certainly not significantly over. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did have a deliberate cheat day that I deliberately went over, and even then, that was more like I went over to what would be like a normal amount of calories, right? So an average American male, whatever, for a male my size, I think the calorie range would be like 2,300 to 2,500 calories, and that particular cheat day, if you will, I ate closer to like 2,300 calories. So not like exorbitant. It wasn't like I spent all day at a buffet or something and, pounded down 4,000 or 5,000 calories. But I had a more, quote unquote normal day, not a day where I was attempting to reach a calorie deficit for the day. And that helped me break through about a 4-day run where I was stuck at the 249 plateau. I was at 248.9 and 249.2 and 249.1, and it ran for 4 days where I really didn't have, and then I had my cheat day and boom, I lost like a pound overnight, and that stuck, and I was on a nice downward trend. And again, as I say, I weigh in this morning at 241.7, so I'm down another 8 pounds, let's say, from that plateau several weeks ago. And obviously I'm not thinking that I should be losing at the rate that I was in the early going. Again, my first 10 days from that 265 weigh-in before I made my first video, lost almost 8 pounds in 10 days, and then I lost, I was at 10 pounds by 14 days on the Noom program, and at this point, I just like last week at 242.4. I thought, I'm within striking distance with just a 2-3 pound loss. I'm in a striking distance of 2 good milestones. One being going from 265 to below 240 would be 25 pounds. I thought maybe I'd be 25 pounds. And also then I'd be into the 230s, which, every time that number changes, that second digit number changes, that's a nice, psychological boost. So it's tough to have only lost 0.7, but even tougher than that is I don't even know that the points, like the .7 isn't even that much of a celebration. Like again, I'd like to be able to look at that in the .7 as being a good, but that .7 is almost virtually all this morning from yesterday. In actuality, that 242.4 that I was at, I went down. I was at 241 something a couple days later. I went down, but then I had this crazy run where every day I was at my goal. I promise you, at my goal, even below my goal calories. And for 3 consecutive days, I put on weight. Now again, sodium, water weight retention, all of these things, I understand all of that. I'm just saying how it operates on, it takes a lot to hold on to that psychologically, mentally, to hang tough when you're doing it right. Now, my wife made, the one night she had made a very lightened, like riced cauliflower with just a little bit of rice, like a fried rice. It was a shrimp fried rice, very vegetable heavy. As I say, like at least 2/3, 75% of it was rice cauliflower and just a little bit of actual rice. But the one thing about it, of course, is that a fried rice has soy sauce. Maybe that was a lot of sodium, but boy, I went up like more than a pound overnight. Again, you'd think water retention because, our best estimate on the calories for that was not bad at all. And it wasn't the only day. Like I said, 3 days in a row, my weight went up, and it went up higher than that previous, so it was like early this week, I was higher than the 242.4. I was, actually, hey, this is the great thing about Noom, right? You can track every part of it, so I can tell you exactly what that. All right, so here's I can show you. This. You can kind of see it. It's hard to see with the glare behind it, but you see this sort of. That's a chart, and I can expand it out here. Where did we get to? There was a peak here. Yeah, I got to a 243.3. So I was up almost a pound, and that was, again, earlier in the week, like Monday, Tuesday. So I'm back down a couple pounds from that inflated number, and again, those things really. So this is, that's why it's a tough, struggling week. It would be a lot easier if it were, I went from the 242.4 to like 0.2 to 242 even to to 1.9 and say, oh, I only lost 0.7, but it's the that messes with your head a little bit, but again, mindset. So my mindset game is strong. I'm reporting the reality of it, being real, being a human being, keeping it all in perspective. That obviously you could see the truncated. I am getting close to being down 25 pounds. Absolutely, I've got to celebrate that from April the 20th through June the 4th, and obviously I'm nowhere close to giving up stick with me. I appreciate you hanging with. This was obviously a very long one. I had a lot to cover. Probably will be, I know this is not the first one that's gone over 30 minutes. If you've watched all of it, thank you very much for hanging with me. I hope to continue to keep this vlog going, as I say, through my weight loss, through the maintenance of weight loss, but it won't only be about weight loss. As it moves forward, I will continue to evolve it. I will be talking, I'm sure, about movies, about graphic novels, about everything that I'm doing as far as mindset and personal growth, and trying to be somebody, again, contributing to that conversation. So I will check back with you next week. This is the end for week 6. You look forward to the video in week 7, and hopefully we will be breaking out of yet another plateau, and this one being kind of more of a major one. And if I'm still at a major plateau again next week, then I might be discussing other ways. And what steps am I taking to try to shake things up? Because at a certain point, you got to maybe get proactive and not just keep doing the exact same things you're doing. You've got to do some things which might involve, again, I think one of the tips that Noom I saw. There's a discussion group is another thing that I did mention, and in the discussion group, they're sort of led by a Noom employee called a coach of some kind or a discussion group leader. There are different things. There are one-on-one coach options, and then there's this discussion group, and that has a leader to it. So there's a lot of tools involved, I did want to say that so Noom is it's certainly not the most expensive thing that you can do for weight loss, but it's for as far as something that's merely, if you will, just an app, right? Not something where you're getting like I certainly hiring like an actual trainer or hiring a nutritionist. Those are things that can cost a lot of money. But relative to, I'm sure, there are a lot of, Noom does a lot of things that a lot of apps that are free do, right? I mean, you can track it also has a pedometer as part of the Noom app. But there are things that are pedometers, that are health apps, that are essentially free, that have like paid features to them or whatever, may be a lot cheaper than Noom. And I'm going to say that I'm also somebody who's advocating a little bit, or I'm accepting a bit of wisdom in the idea that you value that you pay for more. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I think that, for sure, there is a definite element, and it was something that my wife, said, and she's not, involved in the same sorts of mindset reset sorts of programs that I'm putting myself through in right now. But before we got started, it was just something she said organically, was that she felt that she would stick with a program like a Noom because it was a little bit pricey, because she was paying for it. And I think there's something to be said for that. So it's something you might consider. Obviously, if money is tight for you, again, there are options for, if you just want to track your calories and have a pedometer and track your weight, there are things that you can upload to your phone, or apps you can download to your phone that will track those things and are free. But it may be then you got to really be a little bit stronger. It's just one more tool in the toolkit to help you stay motivated, that you pay for it, right? Okay, so that gets me closer now to wrapping up there for week 6. I will see you in week 7, and thank you very much for tuning in, for watching my video, and until next week, you have an